Hey guys, it's Sia. Welcome. I wanted to do my first video that kind of represents what I wear most days. I don't like calling it like an everyday makeup look or whatever, because honestly I do my makeup as well as like my clothing and everything dependent on my mood, and obviously my mood's not the same every day. But when I need to feel like secure, this is kind of the makeup look I go to because I really like it. I've been wearing it for a long time and I feel like it really represents kind of what I'm feeling most days. I don't know if that's a good thing, but basically this is what I want to show you guys today. I don't always wear foundation or anything like that, and when I do it's very sheer, and I don't always wear concealer or powder or things like that. But in the spirit of feeling more ready, I'm going to use a little bit probably of like concealer and stuff today, just to sort of get rid of my I'm not sleeping well dark eyes. But honestly I don't call them skin concerns because they're nothing to be concerned about. Most days I like to rock my eye bags and I'll embrace the I look a little dead look. So I think that, like, you know, I'd call them skin complaints because that's really what they are, right? Some days I don't like my under eye bags, like today, because it reminds me that I haven't been sleeping well, you know. But they're not concerning. There's nothing to be sort of worried about, you know. They're perfectly natural to have. Like, not everyone sleeps awesome all the time. So I'm trying to change the language of what people say when they talk about their skin, because there's nothing to be worried about. We all have, you know, sort of those sort of imperfections or whatever you want to call them about us, and I think it's far better to just sort of embrace it and be yourself. But anyway, I could probably talk forever, so let's get started. So I'm just going to like zoom you guys in and we'll start with the face. The concealer I'm going to be using is the YSL Touche Eclat Radiant Touch Concealer in shade 2, Luminous Ivory. I've been using this since I was 14 years old, and if you're wondering how a 14-year-old could afford such an expensive concealer, Chemist Warehouse actually has it for half off about 3 times a year, so I usually buy it from them. It's online only, which the website looks pretty dodgy, but so far it's never done me wrong. And I'm just going to put a little bit under my eyes. It's really hard to find products, especially concealer and stuff, that's like pale enough for me. I find that a lot of them are too yellow or they're really pink, and as you can tell I'm quite red already, so I don't love that sort of, you know, full-on red look. And then I'm going to be testing out this new brush that just came. It's the Rare Beauty concealer brush and I'm really excited. I'm also just covering up a couple blemishes that happened due to stress as well. I mean, you can still clearly see it, but just kind of take out some of that pigment, you know. And then I sort of just sweep it down and sort of blend it a little bit once I patted it into place, so there's no harsh lines. Especially when you're not wearing any foundation, it can be quite obvious if there's just a strip where my redness shows and my freckles show and all that sort of stuff. So I just like to blend that in a little bit so it doesn't look so harsh. Next I'm taking in powder, which just again helps even out my skin tone a little bit. This is the Shiseido Synchro Skin Invisible Silk Pressed Powder in Translucent Matte, and I'm using this Benefit contour brush or bronzer brush to put that all over my face. I find this is like way too big if I were to use it for contour or bronzer or anything like that, but I think it works awesome as a face brush. And the powder looks like this. It does come with a little sponge, but to be honest, I don't use sponges. I think they're very unhygienic, and I'm very lucky with my skin. I don't have any huge skin concerns, but I also really don't want to test my luck or like push it. So I try and make sure I'm as good as I can be when it comes to caring for my skin, because I want to also like thank it for being so good and like nice to me. I don't know if that makes any sense. I don't know if my skin's like that good. I just think that, you know, I don't get like much acne or anything, so like that's really cool. Next, I'm going to be taking the Kevyn Sculpting powder in the shade Light, and this is really awesome if you've got like a red undertone. It looks really good, and I'm just taking that with a NYX Duo Fiber brush. Personally, I spent a really long time trying to find a brush that did not have a lot of kickback with this powder, and I used a lot of different ones, and I couldn't really find one that didn't spread the powder everywhere, because it's like so expensive. I didn't want to like waste it. So I found that the Duo Fiber brush is like the only brush that doesn't have that sort of like really intense powder kick up. So if you're also having that problem, it's a really good idea to try this one. I also really like them for cream blushes as well, which is really cool. And I'm just take that in the hollows of my cheeks and a little bit under my chin where the shadow would naturally hit, and sometimes I put a little bit on my forehead. I try to bring a little color back, but honestly there's only so much you can do when your skin's this pale. Now if you're wondering where my bronzer is, I don't use it. Everything comes orange on me and I really don't like it, and this is like the first contour powder I've ever used, because again, like contour is usually made a lot darker and it doesn't really look very good or very natural on my skin, and I like my skin to look very natural despite liking my eyes to be very unnatural. So next I'm taking this BareMinerals Blonzer in the shade Kiss of Copper, and this is my first time trying this shade, but I absolutely love the look of it. It's the very pale orange, I guess I'd call it, with a hint of pink, and I really think it looks beautiful. And for that I'm just taking the e.l.f. blush brush and accentuating my redness, because why not? I also love putting it on my nose because anime dictates my life choices. And oh boy, that is pigmented. And then what I like to do is take the brush I was using before, the contour brush, and I just further sort of blend that over the top. It's not got any more like product on it, I haven't dipped back in or anything, but I find it just is really good at getting rid of those sort of harsh lines as well. Sometimes I'll even take like the powder brush and go over it, but to be honest, like I like a red cheek. I like to embrace my flaws in that way, and you know, I've always been super red and super pale, and it's something I used to really hate, along with like my freckles along here and things like that. And I've learnt as I got older that I really like them, and for something I was once like really badly bullied about in high school, like my freckles and my pale skin and red cheeks and stuff, I now see people on like YouTube that I really admire like buy that Freck product to like make fake freckles, and like now a lot of girls will draw them on and really like them, and it's something I get complimented for today. and it's really nice. It's really, really lovely. But I mean, it was always such an insecurity until one day I realized that it doesn't matter. It just kind of makes me who I am and things like that, and I shouldn't let what others say get to me. And then years later, now it's a fashion thing to have freckles, so you just never let anyone tell you, you know, you should change it because you're not in style or whatever, because you will be eventually. Like, that's what I think anyway. Now this is also the part where most people do their eyebrows. I don't do my eyebrows. I've done them once and I hated it. I don't think they need anything done to them. I don't know, like, feel free to disagree, but I think like they're fine how they are. I don't really care to change them. But what I do care to change is my eyelids. So I use the Nars Smudge Proof eyeshadow base, and this is in the shade Light. I was really, really excited when they brought out tinted shades because I do have like blue veins on top of my eyelids because like I'm very pale. I have very obvious veins, and having a tinted one works really well. I did use the clear one for a really long time when that was the only one they made at, like, back then, and I thought it was like awesome at holding shadow and making it last all day. But again, you can still see those sort of veins, and I don't like putting concealer on my eyelids because it feels too heavy in my opinion. So yeah, that on and blend it in with my finger. You could use a brush if you want, it doesn't really matter, but I find my finger just works fine, and it's a lot easier than buying all these brushes, because although brushes are necessary, like, I hate spending money on them. They're so expensive, and at the end of the day, like, as long as it does the job, I'm not too fussed. Okay, eyes primed, and now I'm going to be using the Huda Beauty what's this called, chocolate brown eyeshadow palette, and I really, really like it. I only hear people ever talk about like the like larger palettes from Huda, but I think that like a lot of the shades in there I wouldn't use, so it's not quite like worth it. But these shades are like perfect. I absolutely love them. They're such good quality, and I don't find like any fallout with them, so I don't have to use my finger, which I don't love using for like eyeshadows and stuff like that. So I'm just taking this Too Faced small shader brush. It's just like a flat top brush, but again, use any brush you've got. And I'm taking this chocolatey brown shade, and I'm going to be putting that all over my lid. And one thing I always use just in between applying makeup when it comes to eye makeup is this Fenty Beauty little dry brush cleaner. I find that it works really well. On it, it says to like swirl it. Don't do that. It's going to ruin like your makeup brushes, but I just like swipe it, and I find like that doesn't ruin the brushes, and it does get the product off, which is really, really good. Taking this Too Faced large shader brush. It's sort of just a largish blending brush, as you can see, and I'm going to be taking this sort of warm toned orangey brown color through my crease. It doesn't have to be like super neat. I like my makeup usually grungy anyway, but you'll see why once we get to the next shade. Next, I'm taking this again Too Faced smudger brush, which is just a little pencil brush, and I'm taking the deepest brown in the palette that's matte. I'm putting it on the outer corner. And then I'm taking this e.l.f. Fluffy eye blender brush, which is really, really good, except it's a little too good. Like, I find that this brush can quickly take away all like the work I've done, and I sort of just like blend around the outside, actually, like not fully on, because I find that just smooths the lines really nicely, like around your eyes, and it doesn't take away any of the work. And when I do go on top of like the work I've done, I'm just like very, very gently, because if you do it too much, it'll literally be like a makeup eraser. This brush is mental like that. And then what I do is I take the middle shade, which is like a soft cream shade, on the same sort of brush, and I just sort of blend it at the top to make sure there's no harsh lines, because we don't want any of that. I'm taking this lightish tone tan brown on the same little pencil brush, and I'm just going to sweep that under my eye. I'm taking the darkest shade and I'm just going on the outer portion of my eye. And there we go. That is the eyeshadow finished. I really like this like chocolate brown look, but we're not done there. With this palette, I absolutely love it, and I just actually purchased the Huda Beauty Nude Light palette as well, which I'm really excited to try out. I haven't yet to try it though. I've never really bought from Huda before, except for their eyeliner, their liquid one, and I hated it so much. It dried up like in a week. But these eyeshadow palettes are phenomenal, so I look forward to like trying more sort of stuff from them. Now I'm going to be taking this Stila Stay All Day waterproof liquid eyeliner, and it's the one with the micro tip, so it's really, really tiny and I can get a very precise line. Not that I make it very precise, to be honest. And I'm just going to line the top part of my eyes. And now I'm going to be taking the Makeup by Mario Master Pro Pigment Pencil in Super Black, and it's really cool, this one, because it has like a little brush on the end. I've used a lot of eyeliners in my time, especially being part of the emo scene when I was younger, and usually these brushes on the end are really, really bad, and I like never once used them until I brought this like a couple weeks ago. This brush is actually really, really good because it's not as dense as a lot of them make them, so it doesn't remove too much of the black that you put on your eyes, which is kind of like, in my opinion, the point of black eyeliner, is to put the black there. And I'm just going to put that below my eyes. And I know at this stage it does look a little crazy, but don't worry, we're taking the brush and we're going to just blend that out. I just take it sort of on the outer portion mainly, the same thing I sort of did with the eyeshadow, which is only very lightly go over the actual black because I don't want to take away too much of that pigment, and I mainly just want to take that sort of leftover black on the brush underneath my eye. So I start by gently going over the line, and then the rest of the time I spend underneath. I don't have like too much of a hard time doing eyeliner, to be honest. It's not the thing I really struggle with. Surprisingly enough, I find that like I have pretty long eyelashes despite them being like pretty light colored, so it can be a little hard to like maneuver around them, I guess, but for the most part I don't really struggle with eyeliner. Like, I don't think it's that difficult, but what I do struggle with a lot is lipstick. I don't know why, but I'm really, really bad at putting lipstick on, so we each have our own quirks. Speaking of eyelashes, I'm going to be using the Rare Beauty mascara. A couple of like my YouTube sort of friends, I guess, like love this stuff, and I really, really like it too. I think it's like awesome, and I'm so happy I picked it up. I usually go for like waterproof mascaras personally because my eyelashes are quite long. I find that it'll often transfer on the top of my eyelid where my eyelashes will touch, and so that's why I usually go with waterproof, so that doesn't happen. But I don't find, even though this isn't waterproof, I don't think that happens, which is really good, or at the bottom either. However, if you want like natural looking eyelashes, this is not for you. And this is how the eyes look up close. I really like that sort of like mysterious eye look. I like it to look very blended out and very imperfect. I really like that look of like it being sort of grungy and a little like haphazard. Even though I spent like quite a bit of time on it, I like to look like it was just done in a rush. Now I'm going to use this new Maybelline Ultimate sort of soft matte lipsticks. It's in the shade More Buff, and it's sort of this like paley one. I find that when I like something, when it comes to like a formula or something like that, I end up with a lot of them. So you'll find that like what'll happen is I brought like one and I fell in love with it, so I brought like heaps more of them because I'm so particular about what I like. When I find something I like, I absolutely capitalize on it as much as I can, and I buy all the other shades. The problem with lipstick is that sometimes they'll have a really awesome light formula, but then their dark formula won't be very good, or vice versa. In saying that though, I probably will end up trying the More Ready orange one because I am a sucker for an orange lip. And now to spend 2 hours trying to do my lipstick, because this is the hard part for me. That's like so interesting. I think the pressure of like knowing I'm filming made me like do it really well. With these Maybelline lipsticks, they don't come off when I drink, but when I eat they do, and that's fine, you know. Like I expect most to, unless it's like a super matte lip, which isn't great for like, you know, your lips, so I try not to wear that every day. I would just apply gloss today because I'm feeling a bit nervous. So I'm going to be using another Maybelline product. It's the Maybelline Lifter Gloss, and it's in the shade Moon. It's really pretty. It's kind of this like babyish sort of pink color, so like a muted pink, I guess I'd call it, and it's really stunning. I absolutely love it, and it doesn't feel like a gross lip gloss or anything like that. I try not to fight my natural sort of lip shape or anything like that, because I just get like concerned about, you know, coming off the wrong way or like someone misinterpreting that. And you know, I try to embrace my features even if there are things I don't like about myself, like having pretty small lips. This does have a slight tint. I've never found like a clear or sort of more white lip gloss, that sort of universal color, where I've liked the formula. I don't know why it's so hard to get the white one always right. So this is the makeup all done. I really like how it turned out. I always try like film in sort of more natural lighting because I don't like when like lighting affects the like products, or like it'll look one way when I watch a YouTuber use it, and then when I go in store I'm like, that's so much darker. I do have a desk light on from IKEA, but that's mainly because my desk, like in my office, faces away from sort of the window, so I kind of need it or you're not going to be able to see me. But this is how the eyes turned out, and I really hope you guys liked it. Thank you so much for like tuning in and seeing my first ever video. It was like super nerve-wracking, and hopefully that didn't come across too much on camera, but yeah. So this is the finished look. I really like it. It's like a chocolate brown sort of smoky eye. It's what my mood's telling me today. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys again soon. Bye. One step at a time, you know, one of those. Here's one for you. Oh yes, you got that. You got that. And then another one for you. Hey, don't take that.